All right, folks, today we're going to talk about mono versus braid. All right, for any of you people that think those braids were fake and something that I cut off my little girl's Elsa doll, all right, guys, enough of the craziness. Be sure to stay tuned, though, at the end of the video. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff there for you to watch. But yeah, what we're going to talk about is braid and monofilament line. This topic comparison question always comes up online. See it on a lot of the fishing forums, on Facebook, that kind of thing, about which is better. And honestly, there's no which is better. They're both tools that have a place, and depending on how you use them, one is better and gives you advantages over the other one. You've seen some of my videos. I like to go fishing for sharks down at the coast, and we have on the occasion to get into some big sharks, some stuff well into the triple digits. And you need some line, you need some heavy line, and you need a pretty good volume of it. And with braid, typically what I do is I have a top shot of mono, usually 60, 80 pound mono, a wind on leader, which something else we'll go into in another video. But then the backing on all of this, if the fish makes a really good run, is the braid. When a fish has got a good run like that and pulled off a lot of line, it's got the mono there for the stretch and the give. But the braid is just basically winch and power, and you can put a lot of line on it. So that's why I use it on the shark reels. One of the great things about braid is you can put a lot of line on a reel. It has a very small diameter. This is 65 pound Power Pro braid. It's got a 0.41 millimeter diameter, okay? That's how wide the line is. This here is 20 pound and it's 0.40 millimeters, so it's basically the same size. 20 pound mono is the same size as 65 pound braid. So you can see you can get a lot of line on the reel using braid. But I used a 20 pound Power Pro on all of my panfish and small fish spinning rods. The stuff that I catch perch with, stuff that I catch brim with, crappie, all that stuff. Is all 20 pound braid. I like it. I like the sensitivity of it. I have pretty sensitive rods. I can feel subtle bites with it. That is the reason I use it. There's very little stretch, really no stretch in braid, and you can really telecast the bite through the line into the rod if you have a sensitive and stiff enough rod. One of the biggest negatives with braid is going to be the cost. These two spools cost about the same amount of money, about 110 to 115 bucks when I bought them. The difference is this spool right here has about 1,200 yards of line on it. This spool right here had about 7,000 yards on it. So you can see there's a huge difference. You get a lot more fishing line with mono. Bad point with braid, lack of stretch. That lack of stretch can be a negative. When you get those fish close to the boat, you've got a stiff rod, you have very little forgiveness there when that fish makes his last big head shake, turn, jerk, pull, whatever. It's real easy to pull a hook loose then, so you need to be very aware when you're using these heavier lines and these heavier braids that your drag is adjusted properly and you're also fishing a rod that is suited for that weight line. The worst part, in my opinion, about braid is tangles. I drift and troll and drag baits a lot with multiple rods out. Inevitably, they're going to get tangled. They're going to get knotted up together. When braid gets tangled, you have to cut it. It's very rare that you're able to untangle a knot. With mono, you're able to get those knots free a lot of the times. It's a lot easier to deal with, a lot easier to unwrap. Braid, you get a knot 2 or 3 lines together, you got to take the scissors to it. So here's the good points and the bad points on mono. Single biggest thing for most people, mono is very affordable. Like I said about braid, it's very expensive. That is one thing for somebody who does not have a lot of money to spend or is not fishing a lot. Spend your hard-earned money on mono. You get a lot more bang for your buck, and you're able to replace the line when you get, fish it through heavy cover, any place that's got any snags, kinks, or if you really, really load it up with a big fish, it's good to replace your line. You can get flat places pulled in a lot of lines. So it's a lot more affordable. Biggest selling point for mono. The thing I like about mono better than anything is visibility. Obviously, this is a yellow line compared to a green line. I've looked at other braids. They have some in lighter colors, yellow, but nothing compares to the visibility that you get with monofilament line, especially when you're fishing out in bright sunlight. When I'm pulling multiple rods through the water, multiple lines, dragging, trolling, I've got planer boards out, I need to see where those lines are, especially when I hook into a fish. You got to know when lines are crossing, getting ready to cross, where the fish is going, that kind of thing. And there's no better line to use than monofilament to be able to do that quickly and accurately when you're out there fishing. One of the great advantages once you hook a fish with mono is that most of the good lines have a reasonable amount of stretch. Now, I'm not talking 30–40% stretch, but enough that if a fish makes a head jerk, a twist, you got them on a short leash there at the boat, you've got a little bit of stretch, a little bit of forgiveness. That stretch is very important. It's something you don't get with braid. It will really save you having hooks pulled and also having, you know, maybe a slightly damaged line breaking when you get it there on that short leash at the boat. Just that little bit of forgiveness and the stretch that you get with mono is a huge advantage. Like I said, I drag, drift, troll, having out anywhere from 6 to 10 lines at a time, and they're going to get tangled. Being able to untangle mono is a great advantage. It's quick, it saves time. It doesn't always happen. You're going to have times where these lines will get tangled, but the fact that you can get this untangled a lot easier will save you a lot of time and get your baits back in the water faster. Some of the bad points of mono are its large diameter. And some people say memory is a problem, especially when it comes to casting monofilament line. Now, one thing I forgot to mention that I just thought of is mono sinks, braid doesn't. Depending on how you fish and what you fish, that can be a distinct advantage or disadvantage on either line. I like the fact that mono sinks, especially when I'm anchored, especially when I'm fishing slack water. The reason being, as that line sinks into the water, it starts to sink and bow. It creates some tension. There's some hydrostatic pressure on that line from the water. It creates some tension on that line that helps you see a bite. All right, folks, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. Like I said, after I say thank you here, I'm going to have a little behind the scenes clip here for you to watch. Tried to make a boring topic halfway interesting and a little bit funny, so thank you for watching. If you like the videos, please hit subscribe. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Hit that bell. It's a notification button, and they'll let you know whenever these new videos come out. We'll see you on the water soon. Get it like when I introed the video, you won't be able to see them. We're talking about mono and we're talking about braid. I think this is the most. No, this is not the most painful part. The most painful part happens when she starts pulling this crap tight. You have a maniacal wife that likes to see you in pain. Look, she laughs. She laughs. She laughs at people in pain. Y'all seen the video when I got finned by the catfish?